Hola, bienvenido o bienvenida a esta lección. Hello, and welcome to today's class. So, here is the perfect study routine if you want to become fluent in Spanish. Now, the first thing that you need to build your foundation on is the grammar. Without the grammar, everything else falls apart. And a lot of people say, well, Nate, I heard online that, grammar's not that important, or I can just skip it, or I should just focus on this other thing instead of the grammar. But the big thing here is that if you skip learning Spanish grammar, when you first start, you'll see results. You will, as a beginner. But as you start to get to that intermediate level, maybe looking at things like the preterite versus the imperfect, or object pronouns, things like le, lo, or why we use se. If you don't have any existing knowledge of the grammar, your Spanish is quickly going to fall apart. And I always tell people, build your house on rock and not sand. This is the equivalent of building your house on rock. You need to use the grammar, okay? So focus on the grammar. Next, which is going to be kind of the big, very important part of our house, are the walls, which are going to be speaking, okay? After grammar, speaking is the most important thing when it comes to learning Spanish. Next, we're going to build our roof, which is going to be listening. Okay, very important. We're going to look at all of these in depth in a second here. Then we'll make our little front door here, which is going to be reading. I'll just put read. And then we have our windows. I hope you like my artistic skills. And this will be writing. Okay, so there's our house. You can take a screenshot of that, share it with all your friends. But this is how we're going to have the perfect routine. Grammar, speaking, listening, reading, and writing. So let's take a look at these in depth, okay? So first off, we have the grammar. When it comes to Spanish grammar, you have many different options for what you can use to learn the Spanish grammar. So you can use a book, which is very common. You can use an online course or an online community. You could also use something like YouTube videos, but realistically, these are going to be your best two options here, book or an online course. You could also use a tutor, but I think just investing in a book or an online course is the way to go. Barbara Bregstein on Amazon has very popular grammar books for Spanish learners. You can also check out different online courses. Of course, I'm biased, but we have our Fluent Spanish Speaker Academy, which is really awesome. Check it out by clicking the link in the video description. But keep it simple here. Don't overwhelm yourself with a bunch of crazy grammar resources. Just pick one that you like and that you feel is helping you and stick with it, okay? Next is speaking. I'm gonna put the text in blue so there's a bit of a contrast. So you have two different options. Actually, we'll do green to start. So we'll do Tandem, which is going to be free. We also have Hello Talk. And these are two free options that we have. These are online language exchanges that you can basically go and chat with people online for free. You help them with their English. They help you with your Spanish. However, they can be a little bit hit or miss. Sometimes you get weird people on there. But these are two excellent free options, Tandem and Hello Talk. Then, for paid options, we have something like Preply or italki. Okay, those are also excellent choices. You have something like Lengua as well, which has good AI options as well. But those are three really excellent paid options. So Tandem and Hello Talk for free options, Preply, italki, and Lengua for paid options. Now, if you were to do one thing from this list, it should be the grammar and the speaking. Okay, two things. Sorry, I lied. Grammar and speaking, okay? Grammar, like I said, is going to be the foundation of your house, and then speaking is going to be ultimately what helps you learn Spanish the fastest. It will help you improve the fastest. So the first two are the most important, grammar and speaking, okay? I'm going to erase this little thing, so if you want to go back, take a little screenshot of that or something, you can. Now, when it comes to listening, you have many different options. The first would be podcasts, okay? Next is just music. Next could be watching movies or also TV, and that's kind of like YouTube videos or Netflix, things like that. Audiobooks, for example, the radio, the news, whatever. What I typically tell students is that think about what you listen to in English. Now, just do that in Spanish. Now, you might have heard of the term comprehensible input. Comprehensible input is simply when we listen to things that are slightly above our current Spanish level. If you're not sure what your Spanish level is, then simply listen to things that challenge you. You're not going to understand everything that you're listening to, especially when it comes to music. A lot of people will say, oh, well, Nate, I enjoy listening to these songs or what have you, but I just don't understand what they're saying. And that's fine. That's normal. Something that really helps, and something that I do with my students, which is a lot of fun, is we will watch YouTube videos of songs that my students like, and we'll look at the lyrics. So we'll say, okay, great, we're going to listen to this song by Maná, El Muelle de San Blas. Great song if you don't know it. And we're going to look at the lyrics. Okay, cool, let's go through. Oh, you see how they're using the object pronouns? Or you see how this is a command? So it's a really fun way to learn new vocabulary and also to learn grammar and see how the language works. Okay, so listen to things you like. That's key. Next is reading. So, this could just be obviously reading books, reading, I don't know, blog posts or the news, for example. Another great thing you can do is if you're part of an online Spanish community, reading posts from other members in the group and saying, oh, that's cool, Bob did this thing and that really helped him, or oh, he went to Mexico on vacation. So that's another really fun thing you can do. For writing, typically in the modern day, this comes through just texting people. That's the most common thing that you're going to see when it comes to writing. Or you can just, for example, do some journaling. You could even write someone a letter and practice writing in Spanish. I would argue that texting is the most useful, especially now because in the modern day, you can add a Spanish keyboard to your phone or computer or what have you, and it will automatically correct you. So if you put something wrong, it will tell you, hey, maybe you meant to say this or whatever. And then you'll be like, well, why though? Why is it? And then that will kind of help you to learn. And of course, the last thing is to have fun, which is extremely important because, let's be honest, if you're not having fun learning Spanish, then you're going to give up. So focus on the grammar and speaking. Those are the two most important things on this list. And then, of course, to have fun. And also something that I didn't necessarily put in here, but something that should be a default, is to be consistent. The people who become successful with Spanish learning are the ones who are consistent. So no need to learn fluent Spanish in 1 week, okay? Go slow, have fun, enjoy the process, and most importantly, be consistent. Now, you might be asking yourself, how much of each of these things should I do? For how long? Well, like I said, grammar and speaking should be the priorities here. So those should be the number one things. If you could only do that in your entire day, it should be that, okay? Now, when it comes to how long you should be doing each of these things, you should be doing something that you can realistically do every day. So if you go into it thinking, oh, well, I'm going to learn for 2 hours a day, it's going to be great, I'm going to become fluent, and then all of a sudden, you go on vacation, or life happens, or, your kids, or your family, or whatever, your job, then all of a sudden you give up because you're like, oh my gosh, this is actually pretty hard, I can't sustain this. You do not want to do that. So if 5 minutes a day is what you can realistically do consistently, then do 5 minutes a day. I would much rather you do 5 minutes a day for the rest of your life than 2 hours for a week, and then you get burnt out and give up. Okay? So remember, grammar and speaking are the most important. Real quick, remember here's our little house, right? So everything's built on the grammar. Speaking is going to have the biggest impact, right? You're going to learn the fastest with speaking. Then we have listening, which is very important and also can be very fun, especially if you enjoy listening to music in Spanish. Then we have reading and writing, which are kind of the two bonus pillars there. Bueno, muchas gracias por ver el video. If you like this, click the link in the video description to check out our Fluent Spanish Speaker Academy. Our goal is to help you have a 10-minute conversation in Spanish in 90 days without feeling unconfident. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment on this video, or you can send me an email at support@SpanishWithNate.com. Muchas gracias. Hasta luego.